You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the December 14th, 2022 meeting of the LaPorte County Sheriff Merit Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the December 14th, 2022 meeting of the LaPorte County Sheriff's Department Merit Board. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Sheriff, you do the honor.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Did everyone get a copy of the minutes from the November meeting and had a chance to review? Are there any corrections? Have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion to have a second.
Second.
All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Good morning.
Good morning. A good day and a sad day, but Sheriff, I'll turn this board meeting over to you for the last time.
Thank you. Before we go any further, I'd like to take a moment of silence and recognize Yvette Rose, who's the wife of former Sheriff Jan Rose. She passed away on December 1st. She also served as matron in the LaPorte County Jail while her husband served as sheriff. She served as matron from 1979 to 1986. She is the mother-in-law of retired Deputy Mike Disbrow and the grandmother of current Deputy Matthew Disbrow. A very sweet lady. We're sorry about her loss, and our thoughts and prayers are with the Rose family. We could take a moment. Thank you. The first item on our agenda are our calls for service. As you can see, our calls for service increased ever so slightly last month from October to November, 0.15%. In October, we responded to 1,952 calls for service. 62 calls for service, while in November, we responded to 1,965. The number of vehicle crashes increased 8.8% from 113 in October to 123 in November. Our car deer crashes were also up 38 in October to 55 in November, which is a 45% increase. If you'll remember, the increase the previous month that we reported was 123%. So it's not increasing quite as much, but certainly they are on the increase. The number of traffic stops also increased during this time period by 18%, and the citations issued also increased by 33%. Our patrol deputies also stopped to assist 151 disabled motorists that they observed along the side of the road, which was a 45% increase from the previous month. And the day shift saw a 15% decrease in their call load from October to November, while the afternoon shift saw a 25% increase in calls for service. The midnight shift had a 12% decrease in calls for service. I'd like to point out that these numbers, as always, are courtesy of Becky Popwell, my administrative assistant. I appreciate you putting those together for us. Thank you, Chief. Deputy Disbrow and Sanchez graduated from the Northwest Indiana Law Enforcement Academy on November 18th. As previously mentioned, Deputy Disbrow was named a squad leader, which is an important leadership position. It's selected by staff instructors at the academy, and he was also named as this session's top gun for having the highest range cumulative score in his class. This is a very prestigious award, and it also follows kind of the tradition that we have here at the Sheriff's Office. I should also point out that he comes by it pretty naturally. His grandfather was a good shot, and his father was one of the best shots that I'd ever seen, Deputy Mike Disbrow, who was always consistently in the governor's top 20 in shooting in the state of Indiana when competing against other law enforcement officers. Both deputies are fully immersed in the field training program. Currently, Disbrow is assigned to the day shift, while Sanchez is assigned to the afternoon shift. Deputies Velasquez and Buford are now in their 6th week of training at the South Bend Regional Training Academy. They report that they are doing quite well and they're learning a lot. Last week, they spent the entire week at the Law Enforcement Academy in Plainfield in emergency vehicle operations, as the academy in Plainfield has a certified EVO track. The NYLEA Academy class has returned to their campus in South Bend, and they're going to train there for the next 2 weeks. And then the week after Christmas, they'll return to Plainfield for defensive tactics training. While we're speaking about Velasquez and Buford, we need to have their promotion approval request read and voted upon by the Merit Commission. To the Sheriff's Merit Board, whereas applicant Margarita Velasquez, a member of the department eligible for promotion to the rank of probationary patrolman, except as noted in waiver request form G, if any attached, is found to have made the highest grade in written examination, years of service grade, and service rating grade total, as per reported on the LaPorte County Sheriff's Department eligibility list published by the Sheriff's Merit Board. In my opinion, she appears to have all of the necessary attributes to properly discharge her duties in the rank sought. I hereby respectfully request your approval of the board for her promotion to that rank, effective October 11th, 2022. Thank you.
Hearing so, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you.
Thank you. To the Sheriff's Merit Board, whereas applicant Jared Buford, a member of the department eligible for promotion to the rank of probationary patrolman, except as noted in waiver request form G, if any attached, has been found to have made the highest grade in written examination, years of service grade, and service rating grade total, as per reported on the LaPorte County Sheriff's Department eligibility list published by the Sheriff's Merit Board. In my opinion, he appears to have all the necessary attributes to properly discharge his duties in the rank sought. I hereby respectfully request your approval of the board for his promotion to that rank, which is effective October 11th, 2022.
Thank you. Hearing said, do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion seconded. Any questions? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passed. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the fact that we've got a very good friend, a loyal supporter of the LaPorte County Sheriff's Office and law enforcement in LaPorte County. Our partnership with Bolt for the Heart has enabled us to equip 45 police vehicles at the Sheriff's Office with automated external defibrillators. As a result of this year's 5K and 10K races, our fleet will be completely outfitted with AEDs. Pierre Tour is here today. He's the president of Bolt for the Heart, and he's here to make a presentation to the Sheriff's Office. We are truly blessed to have such a great relationship with Pierre and Bolt for the Heart. He and the group at Bolt are helping us to save lives. While Pierre lives in Carmel, he has roots here in LaPorte County. He was born and raised in the Long Beach area. His parents still live there. I'm really pleased and honored to introduce Pierre. Pierre, if you could come to the podium, please.
Good morning. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
It's an honor and a pleasure to be here today, and I never dreamed that this would go to this level when we started Bolt for the Heart in 2010. It's an organization that I put together with a bunch of my friends, and I work in the open heart cardiac space. That's my day job. And I have a lot of friends that are cardiologists and cardiac surgeons. And we decided to do something for the communities, and I'm a runner, so Derek Allen is very familiar with the passion that runners have. So we decided to do a 5K run. And this has kind of grown into a really fun event for the city of Carmel. And one evening we had one of our cardiologists was doing an exam on a state trooper. And after the exam he said, "Hey, do you have an AED in your vehicle?" He said, "No, I don't. They're expensive." So that kind of was a light bulb for us. And so I proceeded to call the Indiana State Police. And I got all the way put up to Doug Carter. Ironically, Doug Carter's from LaPorte County. So we had a connection there. So me being, as John had mentioned, Sheriff John had mentioned that I'm from LaPorte County. Doug Carter, State Police, connection, it seemed to make a lot of sense. So 465 AEDs later, the Indiana State Police is done. Through Bolt for the Heart, I've had the great pleasure of meeting some wonderful, wonderful people, and many of those wonderful people are in this room. And I got to meet Sheriff Boyd through Doug Carter and through different events that we've done, and we decided to do a run in LaPorte County. LaPorte County, my home county. John's been here, and you talk to Superintendent Doug Carter, and he'll say the finest sheriff in the state of Indiana is John Boyd. And I've heard that not just once. I almost hear too much, really. I'm kidding. But there's a lot of love for you out there, my friend, and you've done a great job with this county. And as I got to know you and your department and all the people that work for you, the respect is very, very high for you. And it's not just in LaPorte County, it's in other areas too. And I mentioned John Boyd, I hear great things about you. And so it just seemed like a logical thing to do is to have a race in our home county. And what I didn't realize is that this is the second largest geographical county in the state of Indiana. So it became kind of our mission after we finished the state police to go to the sheriff departments, all 92 counties in the state of Indiana. And in the last 5 years, we've probably outfitted 70% of the sheriffs in the state of Indiana. And it's been great. I never dreamed they would get to this level. And we're approaching donating about 3,000 AEDs with this year's donations. This year's 5K, 10K Bolt Run that was held in Michigan City at Washington Park was well attended, and we were able to raise enough money to buy 20 AEDs. What we decided to do as a Bolt organization in Central Indiana is look to LaPorte County and look at where can we make an immediate impact with a donation, and that's what we did. We decided to donate an additional 20 AEDs to finish Sheriff Boyd's department, because his department and what the sheriffs do here is really work in the rural areas, and they work backwards. And it's just really our pleasure to be able to do this. And I kid John all the time, but we could not be any more of an IU family at our house. But I got to give you some kudos. Your Boilers are #1, and that's I'm not looking forward to playing the Boilermakers this year in basketball. But I want to thank you for your friendship. Had I known our friendship would have grown to this level, I would have come to LaPorte County 8 years ago, 10 years ago. But I know the county's in good hands with what you've done, and I wish you the best of luck in what you do at the next level. And this is just our pleasure. Board of Directors unanimously approved this, and it just makes a lot of sense. And as we know, police officers are the first responders, typically the first one to the scene. And we have documented evidence of over 20 cases where these devices have saved someone's life. So on behalf of Bolt, our Board of Directors, it's really our pleasure to be here today, and thank you for what you do. Thank you, John.
Pierre, I just want to say, first of all, thank you. Pierre recognized that we're not just law enforcement officers, we're lifesavers as well. These tools that he's provided us are a game changer for the public that we serve. It's amazing, and while we've not had a quote-unquote save yet, we have deployed them. You've heard several of the stories, and probably one of the most heartwarming stories that we heard was a letter that was read here about a year ago, in which there was a bicyclist that was taking part in a 100-mile bicycle tour through LaPorte County, and he suffered sudden cardiac arrest, and one of our deputies was first on scene and deployed an AED. He was able to revive him, so he was able to get to the hospital. He wasn't from around here. He was riding with other bicyclists, obviously, but he wasn't with anyone else. We had a hard time identifying him, figuring out where he was from, and then when he was at the hospital, we were able to identify his family over in the Illinois, one of the suburbs of Chicago. And because we were able to revive him and prolong his life, his family was able to gather at his side, and it was several days later that he eventually passed. But his family credited us for knowing that their loved one didn't die alongside the road, that he died in a hospital, and he died surrounded by his loved ones, and we were able to ensure that that happened. It was because of Bolt for the Heart. So in a sense, that's a success story for us, and certainly the family viewed it as such. Pierre, I just can't tell you how much we enjoy our partnership with you, and it truly is. As sheriff, you meet a lot of great people, but you're one of the best. And I thank you for what you've done for our agency.
Thank you. Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is the fact that we have received word from the Ford Motor Company, which is good news, that the 9 Explorers that we had ordered are scheduled to be built the week of January 23rd. The dealership hopes to take delivery of them by the end of February. That's really good news. We'll believe it when we see it, but at least they do have a build date as of right now. Next item is the 59th annual LaPorte County Sheriff's Christmas Show. The Children's Christmas Show took place last Saturday, December 10th, in the auditorium of the Boston Middle School. While the turnout of children was disappointing, each child that attended was treated to a Cleta magic show, and each had plenty of refreshments and candy, and they picked out 2 presents and several books. They had their picture taken with Santa and Mrs. Claus, and excess toys, games, and books were provided to Toys for Tots, the Salvation Army, and Family Advocates of LaPorte County. As always, excess proceeds have been deposited into the Neil Thompson Memorial Scholarship Fund that's held and managed by the Unity Foundation of LaPorte County. Our newest hiree, Jeff Lineski, will begin on Monday, January 9th, 2023. He'll participate in our field training program, and he is tentatively scheduled to report to the afternoon shift for patrol duties once he successfully completes field training. I would anticipate that will be an abbreviated field training, since he is a longtime officer already serving in LaPorte County, just at the Michigan City Police Department. Applicant testing will take place tomorrow, December 15th, at the Fairgrounds Training Facility, and we have close to 30 applicants. We're pleased with the number of applicants that we have. Tomorrow morning, Courthouse Security Deputy Tim Short will be presented with the Michigan City Rotary Club Service Above Self Award as the LaPorte County Deputy of the Year. He was selected for his volunteerism and leadership with the Marine Corps Toys for Tots program. We're really proud of Tim, and we're proud of the continued work that he does each and every year to ensure that hundreds, if not thousands, of children across LaPorte County who otherwise wouldn't have a Christmas are assured to get several Christmas presents. The next item is something that was not on here because this just developed this morning, and that's the pension board election results. We did have 2 nominees, Captain Brian Pergalski and Sergeant Steve Listinsky. Congratulations to Sergeant Listinsky. He has been declared the winner. And thank you to Captain Ott and to President Jim Kimmel, and also to Chief Deputy Ron Heeg for managing, preparing, and ensuring that this went off without any issues. I don't think anybody voted twice this morning. No. Okay. Good? Okay. All right. Congratulations, Sergeant Listinsky. Yes. The next item is the consideration and approval of the 2023 Merit Commission meetings and pension board dates and times. You'll see that, I believe it should be your next page. If you want to take a look at that, and at whatever your pleasure is.
I know some of you didn't get this maybe ahead of time. I did receive it, and I think Laura did as well, and I checked this. It's pretty parallel to what we did this year. So with that, I would entertain a motion to accept the 2023 Merit Commission and Pension Board meetings that have been submitted.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion approved.
I should also mention that I had run these dates past Chief Deputy Heeg, and he said it fits with his schedule for next year. So I probably should have mentioned it before you voted, but he's certainly okay with the dates as well. The next order of business considering this is Mrs. Trojanowski, can you take these dates and then get them to the media? Also, they'll need to be posted for public meetings. We do have an item that I don't believe it made the agenda concerning the pension, and I've got some paperwork that I'd like to pass out. Mr. Kimmel and Mrs. Francisconi received these by email earlier this week, but I did not send them to the remainder of the board. So if you'll indulge me for a second so I can pass this out to you.
Sheriff, I did take the liberty of enrolling everybody in the Evelyn Wood speed reading contest so that they could have an opportunity to peruse this over the next 30 seconds. All 46 pages.
Perfect. Well, I asked Mr. Miller if he would read it real quick and then just give a summary. So we'll give him about a minute to digest it. Okay. What you have before you is a restatement of the retirement personnel plan. It is rather lengthy. It's 46 pages. President Kimmel and I talked several days ago about this. This was just provided to us by One America and DILTS. The plan had not been restated since 2013, and it's time that it be restated. Basically, the only change, we were provided with a copy of the 2013 plan and the proposed changes and a few redactions. Basically, the only changes from the 2013 plan were the dates of its effectiveness. You can do one of a couple of things, and I'll let Mr. Kimmel explain kind of his thoughts, and he can guide you as to what direction you'd like to go with this. But I should point out that this requires merit board approval. The next step would be, if you approve it, it then goes to the council attorney for his review and a recommendation for him to send it then, or for us to send it to the county council. They will need to ratify it as well. I would have no issues ratifying it. However, it does not take effect until 2023. So I'm of the opinion that it should be Chief Deputy Ron Heeg, when he becomes sheriff on January 1st, shortly thereafter, that you would have the decision to make as to whether or not you want to ratify it. I don't want to ratify something that you'll be stuck with, you may not be happy with. You should make that decision. And so therefore, initially we were asked by One America to have this approved prior to December 31st, 2022. And we told them that that simply wasn't possible for a couple of reasons. One was the recommendation I just told you, that I wouldn't be in office. The second is that the county council is not formally going to meet this month. And so therefore, I didn't want to have a special meeting or request a special meeting regarding this for the minor proposed changes that have no cost associated with that. I knew that the council probably wouldn't be happy. So we talked to DILTS, we talked to One America. They have no issues with us holding off on this until January, so we can get everything lined up, and then it can be approved after January 1st.
Yes, thank you, Sheriff. As Sheriff did mention, we did discuss this, and some of the things that were brought to light this morning. I concur that for a couple of reasons. One, as you and I talked the other day, Sheriff, I think it would behoove us to let the board members have an opportunity to review this, even though all it is just some changes in effective dates and that. The other thing I think we need to point out is there's no financial burden either to the pension board or to the county for this. It's just a kind of a cleanup detail. Looking at this, and I haven't heard the dates yet, but I'm assuming the next county council meeting would be January 22nd. The next commissioners meeting should be on or about the 7th of February. So there's no big rush to get this pushed through, and I do, out of respect for the sheriff-elect, Mr. Heeg, to let this be under his umbrella when he becomes sheriff. So my recommendation to the board would be to table this until the January meeting to give everyone an opportunity to review it, at which time we will entertain any comments or anything from then Sheriff Heeg, and then we can vote on it. He can then take it up the ladder to the council and the commissioners. So if I have a motion, or if anyone wants to discuss that, we'll open it for discussion. Any discussion on it?
I think that's just the wisest move. So if there's no discussion, I move to approve tabling it.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. Next item are emails and letters, thank you and commendation. The first is an email that was received from Captain Andy Heineck. It was dated Friday, November 25th, 2022. Sheriff, as you know, every year our agency has representation at the Salvation Army of Michigan City for the annual Thanksgiving Day meal. Members of the agency give up part of their holiday to serve the community. The leadership at the Salvation Army and those who serve have come to anticipate seeing our contingency, and this year was no different. I would like to recognize the following members for their volunteerism: Deputy John Roby, Deputy Evan Doporowski, Merit Board President Jim Kimmel, and his wife Pat. Once again, our agency is represented within the community in a positive way. Thank you, Captain Andrew Heineck. Thank you for your continued volunteerism. Mr. Kimmel, we appreciate your willingness to help out as well. So thank you for being there to help to ensure that those that are in need would receive a warm Thanksgiving meal.
If I could, real quick on that, my wife and I didn't have family this year, so we couldn't think of anything better to do. And this is something that Captain Heineck has undertaken every year that I can recall, and we've done it many times. So, Captain Heineck, thank you for taking the lead on this and making sure that we were invited to come back, and we'll be there next year. So put us on your list.
I agree. Thank you for pointing that out about Captain Heineck. It's one of many organizations that he volunteers his time with to help out. So thank you. The next is an email letter of recognition to the Detective Bureau for their role in the investigation, arrest, and recent conviction and sentencing of Alan Morgan. I wrote this back the 1st of December. Good morning. This morning, justice was served when Judge Alavizo sentenced Alan Morgan to 70 years in prison for battering, systematically abusing, and murdering his son, Judah Morgan. Your investigative skills, attention to detail, interviewing of suspects and witnesses, identifying and preserving evidence, and preparing the case against the suspect ensured that a conviction was attained. Countless hundreds of hours were devoted to poring over evidence, leads, interviews, analyzing statements and evidence, and piecing it all together so that probable cause could be established and a conviction could be achieved. This case was particularly disturbing for many reasons that included the age of the victim and the fact that he suffered a lifetime of abuse at the hands of the very people who should have been his protectors. Nonetheless, each of you went about your tasks, and you did not allow your emotions of this case to cloud your judgment, nor did you allow it to cause a distraction. You helped to serve justice and enable the judicial system to speak on behalf of Judah. Each of you played a significant role in this case, and I appreciate how Detective Jacob Coach led and managed the investigation. Your collective group came together as one, and I could not be more proud of you. Our star is shining brightly because of your skills and professionalism. You each exemplify dedication and excellence in service to our community. Respectfully, Sheriff John Boyd. This was, as you know, a very difficult case for our staff. But with that said, it's unimaginable the torture and the abuse that Judah suffered, and it was the least that we could do to see that justice was served. The next is a letter of commendation from Sergeant Jeff Wright for deputies who were involved in the apprehension of an individual in Union Mills. Sheriff Boyd, on the evening of December 10, 2022, afternoon shift deputies were dispatched to a suspicious truck in Union Mills. Deputy Sweet was on his way to his assigned area for the midnight shift, and he went to the area to check. Joined by Deputy Sikorsky, they located the suspect vehicle next to a residence that was not connected to the truck. Inside the truck, they encountered James Brinfield pretending to sleep. Deputy Sikorsky had dealt with Mr. Brinfield 6 days earlier and recognized him. Instead of cooperating, Mr. Brinfield placed the truck into gear and fled quickly from the deputies. Deputy Sweet and Sikorsky gave chase around Union Mills until the accused drove into a field and he turned off the lights, driving in the dark. They called for assistance and the perimeter was formed. Off-duty Deputy William Masterson was called in for the use of his department-issued drone. Deputy Masterson went into service quickly and upon arrival located a heat signature east of the abandoned truck. Deputy Masterson guided Deputy Sweet and Wallace to the hiding individual. He had been in a marshy area with thick overgrowth and was wearing camouflaged outer clothing on a foggy, cold night, and he had pulled foliage over his body. Without the use of Deputy Masterson, locating him would have been highly unlikely. The accused is a known felon with a history of violence, and despite this knowledge, the deputies did not hesitate to bring him to justice. The units on scene showed teamwork and patience in setting up the perimeter and the courage to go into the field to take this individual into custody. The use of technology to accomplish this task added a layer of safety. In the short time Deputy Masterson has been assigned to the UAV team, he has been a tremendous asset to the patrol shifts. Please recognize the following deputies for their group effort that led to a successful apprehension. Captain Brian Pergalski, Captain Andrew Heineck, Deputy William Masterson, Deputy Alex Pishker, Deputy Wade Wallace, Deputy Michael Sweet, Deputy Kaz Billings, Deputy Micah Dokmanovic, Deputy Jonathan Sikorsky. Respectfully, Sergeant Jeff Wright. I applaud and I also commend these deputies for their work in apprehending this felon. This letter has been scanned and placed in each of their individual personnel files and of course has been read today. We appreciate their work and their dedication. The next is a letter of commendation from Sergeant James Lear for Deputy Jonathan Sikorsky for his consistent performance on the afternoon patrol shift. Sheriff Boyd, I'd like to formally recognize Deputy Jonathan Sikorsky for his overall performance and dedication to the teamwork brought through 2022. The Merit Afternoon Patrol Shift created an award in early 2022 called Top Banana, which would be awarded to the one deputy who is an essential team player who consistently goes above and beyond to help his fellow shiftmates. Each patrol deputy on shift was allotted one vote to select the one deputy whom they felt had the greatest impact on the shift in 2022. On today's date, the final vote was cast and Deputy Jonathan Sikorsky was recognized as the 2022 Afternoon Shift Top Banana. I can personally attest to Deputy Sikorsky's phenomenal performance this year. Not only is he consistently proactive in traffic enforcement, DUI enforcement, warrant service, but he's also participated in community events as a representative of the department. Deputy Sikorsky's work ethic has set the standard on his afternoon shift, and his 2022 performance has been rightfully recognized by his shiftmates. Thank you for allowing me to recognize him, Sergeant James Lear. We appreciate that Sergeant Lear and the shift supervisors on the afternoon shift have created this award that is voted upon and recognized by their peers. I would agree it's a great selection. Deputy Sikorsky does a great job. We also really appreciate his volunteerism. When we do have a project, he's one of the first to raise his hand and step forward and help the community out because he just wants to make a difference. I have just a few closing comments that I'd like to make. In the last 8 years, we've accomplished a lot here at the Sheriff's Department. All of these improvements were the result of our team identifying problems, seeking solutions, prioritizing, and accomplishing the goals that we had set. Accomplishing these goals wasn't easy, and it took the entire agency to buy into them for them to come to fruition. Some of the accomplishments involved creating our first mission and vision statement here at the Sheriff's Office. We adopted and accomplished all 6 pillars of the 21st century policing recommendations that included the acquisition of body cameras and a complete rewrite of our policies and procedures. We expanded our SRO programs in our county schools. We equipped our patrol deputies with less lethal munitions. We now have AEDs in all of our cars at no expense to our taxpayers. We've increased our crisis negotiators. We also increased our canine program. We obtained crowd control civil obedience gear for our deputies to help keep them safe. We've also acquired drones for all of our shifts. We've received designation as a high-intensity drug trafficking area, and now we're one of 8 counties in Indiana with such designation. This has increased participation in local, state, and federal law enforcement partnerships. We have full-time interdiction to fight drugs and guns. We have full-time commercial motor vehicle enforcement. We've removed 3 full-time deputies from post command and phone duty, and we've gotten them out on patrol. We took over lake patrol duties and formed a marine patrol unit. We've replaced and upgraded our pistols. We've increased jail medical service to now 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We privatized food service in the jail, and we think by doing so have improved it. We transitioned to an 800 megahertz communication platform and vastly improved our communications for emergency services. We've equipped all of our deputies with Narcan. We now have evidence technicians, deputies on each of our patrol shifts. We transitioned to AT&T FirstNet, improved cellular and data transmission service. We helped to pass the public service local income tax to increase salaries and help to improve pay and equipment and technology, which has provided for an unprecedented raise for our employees. We sought and secured private donations to build our own state-of-the-art fitness center. We have unprecedented partnerships with community service organizations such as Bolt for the Heart, Bethany Church, their Red Wine and Brew, SDY and Associates, and the Moore family, just to name a few. I'd like to thank our Mayor Commissioners for your dedication to the Sheriff's Office. It's been unmatched and it's been very time consuming. We're so very fortunate to have you helping us to guide our agency and ensuring a strong future through our personnel hires. We've noted that our Mayor Commission is more involved than most Mayor Commission, and it plays a very important and active role in our operation. Our board is more active than most and is involved in critical decisions. I thank each of you for your availability, your accessibility, and your willingness to assist, even with little notice. Your guidance and support has been crucial to our ability to progress and adapt. Thank you, Mrs. Mock, Mr. Schooley, Mr. Miller. Never thought that I'd say Mr. Miller. Mrs. Francis Coney, and President Jim Kimmel. I'm also grateful to the service of Ralph Howes, may God rest his soul, Tom Wheatbrook, Ed Kluge, may God rest his soul as well, and Bob Schellinger. My 34 years of law enforcement is coming to an end. I've enjoyed every minute and every day, and I've looked forward to coming to work, and I've done so with a smile. I still have enthusiasm, but I know it's time to do something different. I owe a huge gratitude to several people at the Sheriff's Office over the years who've helped me to set my goals and to accomplish them. Larry Trueblood, who influenced me when I was in 4th grade and triggered a desire from within to want to become a police officer, and work for the LaPorte County Sheriff's Office and someday be sheriff. Sheriff Ken Layton, who allowed me to serve an internship at the Sheriff's Office in 1986, that left no doubt that this is where I wanted to someday work and have a career and follow in his footsteps. In 1990, he gave me a chance and he hired me, and he supported me and encouraged me to pursue my goals and dreams. He believed in me so much that 9 years ago, he agreed to serve as my campaign chairman as I ran for sheriff. I will be forever indebted to him. Today is my 96th and final Merit Commission meeting with you as sheriff. Together we've had countless special meetings, telephone calls, emails, hiring, and promotional interviews. Since January 2015, you've hired 38 new deputies at the Sheriff's Office. You should be proud of the work that you've done and pleased that your choices in personnel have created the LaPorte County Sheriff's Department into what it is today. On behalf of the men and women of the LaPorte County Sheriff's Office and the people of LaPorte County, I thank you for your service. We have an amazing agency, one of the most respected in the state of Indiana, and is often emulated and sought out because of our best practices. I'd like to thank the entire agency and our administrative team, Major Patrick Cicero, Major Heath Hafferkamp before him, Captain Derek Allen, and Chief Deputy Ron Heeg, for their willingness in consistently putting in long hours, hard work, and attention to detail. I should add to that list Captain Alan Ott, who's been the best jail commander that we've ever had at the LaPorte County Sheriff's Office. I'd like to thank 3 of our unsung heroes who get little recognition and do most of the work behind the scenes to make our organization run seamlessly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Chief Mechanic Bob Parks, Civil Division Guru Connie Trojanowski, and my administrative assistant Becky Popwell. They're the brains of the operation. With them, nearly 120 years of experience between the 3 of them. Best of luck to my loyal Chief Deputy Ron Heeg. There are great things in store for the department, and he and his newly appointed team at the helm are going to do great things. Congratulations, Chief. Thank you for your friendship and your support and your loyalty. Excuse me. I didn't anticipate that. You'll see that the Warrants Division Detective Bureau and Jailing Monthly reports are attached, and the next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 11th at 9 a.m.
Thank you, sir. Are there any comments from the floor? Comments from the floor? Hearing none. Comments from the board? Mr. Schooley.
I want to thank Mr. Torr for your partnership with all our agencies in the county and getting us supplied with the AEDs. It's a great partnership. Sheriff, just briefly, thank you for your leadership in assembling the fine team that you have. Look forward to the future and best of luck in your next chapter.
Ms. Mock?
I just want to say, Sheriff, it's been a joy. From day one when you came on, it's been a joy.
Jim?
I was on the department when John was hired, and about 5 years afterwards, he was put on the DARE team. He got the break of during the summer he would come to the drug unit, and a few times he had to work with me, and I'm not sure he was real thrilled about that. But I just want to congratulate him on his job and the work he has done over the years with the department, and good luck in your next endeavor. You're welcome.
Laura?
I'd also like to thank Mr. Torr for being here today. I think it was very special, realizing what your connection is, and so appreciate you taking the time to be here. Sheriff, so as many people know in the Christian community, we're in the season of Advent, where John the Baptist comes to the forefront. Today's reflection this morning the topic was, what John do you know in your life that you want to say thank you to? Could not think of being handed a better segue to what I wanted to say today, because I didn't know what I wanted to say. But on behalf of the community, the department, the merit board, myself, thank you for your unparalleled leadership. And that I don't take that word lightly, unparalleled, because there is no parallel to your leadership, to our entire community. As far as myself being appointed by you, I had no idea what was going to be involved. I trusted you and jumped in without really any idea. And what I've come to know is I have gained the most experience, knowledge, but mostly the respect for every person in this department, the people that I see, the people behind the scenes, because you make sure we know about the people behind the scenes that the community doesn't always know about. So thank you. Thank you for showing respect for every person in this department. There's no proper way to say thank you in every way that I would like to say thank you, but it's been my pleasure. I've gained the most from this. I wish you every health, happiness, success in whatever endeavor that you take on after this. So my heartfelt gratitude.
Thank you. Bolt for the heart. I just, listening to the presentation, one of the things that Sheriff Boyd has taught me, even though I'm older than him, if you learn something every day, you're successful. And he's kind of several different times, look around you and see if you can lay a correlation to something. And I've tried to do that. And one thing with the bolt to the heart when you were making your presentation that rang true to me was you said you started out with the Indiana State Police and Doug Carter, who came from LaPorte. And when I think about Doug Carter in his current position in the Indiana State Police, I think of Indianapolis. And when I think of the heart, I think of the central of the body and what makes us go. And thus kind of the correlation. And then it really tripped my mind when you said that you've issued 465 units to the Indiana State Police, and 465 represents the circle that surrounds Indianapolis. So that was something that just it just triggered in my mind. So if you look at the heart in the center and you look at the brain at the top, I guess the brain's right here in LaPorte County. So kudos to you for recognizing that. You know, the second largest, I think we've got more common sense in LaPorte County than we do the largest county. So thank you for taking care of the men and women and the citizens of LaPorte County with your generous donation for Bolt for the Heart. Thank you. Sheriff, you've always been there for so many people. Good, bad, I think you've taken all of it in stride. You are like another supervisor that I had years and years ago that when you knew you got called to the principal's office, you're going to get talked to. And you and I've had some talks over the 8 years that you've been the sheriff. And I'm proud to say that everyone that we've talked with has always led with a solvable conclusion. I've walked out of your office feeling good. And I also know that when I walk out, that's the end of it. It doesn't carry on. It doesn't linger on. We all make mistakes, and I've made mine as I think everyone else has in their life. So I want to thank you for being a mentor to me, having the patience to work with me. We've come up with some ideas here at the Merit Board, and we've run it past you. And I think the one that I'm probably most proud of is the Beyond the Expected. It was just kind of a wild thought some of us had, and we took it, we brought it to you, and no surprise, you gave us 150% support on that. So we'll be continuing with that. You're going to be missed. Chief, I don't know if your shoes are quite big enough, but I'm sure you're sure going to try. But I hope you know that the 5 of us will back you any way we can to make your next 4 years or 8 years successful as they were for your mentor. So one thing I would like to advise you on, I always try to leave things on a high note. So thank you for the last minute notice to be here this morning at 6 o'clock. I think I got an email yesterday on that. As well as the email to be there at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we got to work on your timing a little bit. I don't know what you were doing the last 2 weeks, but it must have been pretty important. But I want to just forewarn you or let everyone know, if you want to buy stock in something, buy it in coffee. Because if Captain Ott continues to make coffee, the sheriff's department is going to have to go to the county council and request additional funds to buy coffee. His coffee this morning, he drank it and it was even too strong for him. So, Captain Ott, you need to work on that, okay? And again, I guess we'll just leave it at that. Sheriff, good luck to you and your family. If the time ever comes when your loving wife ever says it's time for you to go have coffee someplace, give me a call and I'll be more than happy to join you. So, are there any other questions or comments? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned. The motion has been passed. Meeting adjourned at 9:48 a.m. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.